Rob, one of the areas that I think that you've been pioneering in is the idea of fitness as an important part of self-defense. Now, I'm aging. You will someday age too, trust me. But as I age, it's getting a little harder to stay in shape. And I realize it's an important part of staying safe too.
For sure.
What can someone who looks at fitness as part of a total self-defense package do, particularly maybe if they're a little out of shape now, what can they do to get in shape to make themselves safer?
Diet. Diet definitely is the number one thing. When I say diet, I don't mean go on a diet and try to shed pounds or something like that. I'm talking about changing behaviorally the way you approach food. Looking at food as fuel, looking at the way that different types of fuel affect your body and are processed by your body. I think that's the number one thing. If someone looks at me and says they have a weight problem and they put grains in their body, like, it's not going to change. I want to drop some pounds, but you're eating bread, like, you're not going to do nearly as well as you would if you just cut that out. And I'm not saying cut it out like 1,000%, but you cut it out, 5 days a week, 6 days a week. You just don't take in those heavy, complex carbs. You're going to be doing much better. For some people, it might be sugars that are really their downfall. So especially processed sugars, right? So good, cut that out. Cut the sodas out. Don't look at me and tell me you have a weight problem and you're drinking a Mountain Dew. So if it's weight that's holding you back, I think that's actually, with a little discipline, that's an easy, scientifically, that's an easy thing to fix. The aging issue in terms of really developing strength, right? Developing like fitness, what people think of, I think is overplayed. I think if people worked on that diet, right, maintaining a good weight and a good fuel-food relationship, if people worked on range of motion and flexibility, I think that they would feel much fitter and they would be much fitter and they'd be much more capable. So let's get back to the root, right? This isn't like fitness for the sake of fitness. This is fitness for the sake of safety and personal defense. If you don't have a lot of extra weight to carry around and you're more agile and mobile and you have a bigger range of motion and you're more flexible, you're less likely to get injured. That's going to allow you to train more, develop more skill. You're going to be more coordinated, more dexterous because you're lighter and quicker. So I think those are the places I would focus. So there's your, it sounds silly sometimes in our community, but something like a yoga approach, right? Where you're using your body. There's a lot of strength that can be developed there. You're not going to bulk up and be big muscular, but you're going to get the range of motion. Your diet's going to help you keep the weight down. And I think that's a great baseline regardless of what age you're at.
I think for me, certainly range of motion is good for me. Of course, stamina is the biggest issue, because I know that particularly if we get into a hands-on sort of encounter, stamina becomes a huge issue.
For sure.
Somebody who's outweighs me or is a lot stronger than I am is going to sap my energy very, very quickly. All this stuff helps with that as well.
It'll help you with that baseline. I think it's important to remember that the kind of stamina that you're looking for, just picture a track event, picture a collegiate or Olympic level track event. You want to look like the people that are running 400 meters and less. You don't want to look like the emaciated long distance runners. I think we have to be careful about overplaying the stamina in terms of cardio, right? We don't want to do that marathon running thing. What we want to be able to do is develop our bodies, anabolic ability to burn quickly and be powerful in that sense, and that will affect our stamina overall. And that's another piece of the science, is we know that we can work in very, very, very short times at very, very high intensity, and it still affects our ability to process that cardio energy. That long-term stamina will still be increased. If you only work in the cardio, if you only work on the treadmill, you may get really, really good at running that marathon, but you won't have that power that you're going to need in the fight. So we try to kind of downplay that side, and it's great because you're more efficient if you just work really intensely for a short period of time, and it works across the entire spectrum of energy burn.
So there's still hope for me?
Absolutely.
I'm going to go to work.